Hey y'all, on those other videos I may or may have not remembered to introduce the date. Yep, it's Friday, June 5th, 2020. June 5th, 2020. So, it seemed like the couple of times I went out earlier today, I was, just being attacked by young black people. Not actual children, but they were pretty young. Like, yeah, it was this morning I went to do laundry, and they had the same young black guy who was gaslighting and gang stalking me the last time I was here. He was sitting down on a bench. And the moment I come walk outside, it's like, no, at that time, was I doing? No, it was probably before I went to do my laundry. But whatever reason I went out of my room, or it probably was doing my laundry. Well, the moment I went outside of my room, he was outside sitting on a bench. And it's like I just made I wasn't even planning, but he was already sitting right there. He'd been sitting there. And then the moment I walk out the building, that's when he hurry up and go back to his room. When I was staying in the other room last month, he it happened at least 3 times that me and him would walk out the back door like simultaneously. Like he would walk like at the exact same time as me. And I'm like, this young ass black teenager who looked like he's about 17 years old doing that to me, And then they act like they hate you or give you mean looks or something like that, So then, like when the moment I left to go outside to go to Dunkin' Donuts to get breakfast, like, oh yeah, that's probably where I was going, because it was like a last minute decision, So it's like, so then, like the moment I walked off the property to walk on the sidewalk, here come a black guy and a black young guy in a black Ford Edge that looked like 2011 model, and he had a one headlight and was giving me this look like, in New Orleans they call it giving you a look like you booted up. Booted up mean look like they want to whip your ass, And then, I'm glad I was not perped this morning at Dunkin' Donuts, but that in the afternoon they had that black gay guy who perped the fuck out of me too. And that was the guy who gave me what somebody said was demon faces in my ice cream, So, but I'm glad I was treated pretty good this morning over there. They just told me I would get a free donut if I bought something. But hey, I got 3 donuts, but one of them, the donuts were free, and she gave me the milk free too. And so I only paid for 2 donuts, so my breakfast was like under $3. And then for lunch I had Asian food. And I try to make sure I had some vegetables, and I wanted some beef, so I had the little fried rice and beef and Chinese vegetables. And they had, on my way back, they had this young black female who looked like she was about exactly 19 years old, and she was ugly too. She was brown-skinned, ugly girl, and she acted like she was trying to run over me. She had a big white raggedy Suburban, and didn't use her turning signals, and then made a right turn and acted like she was going to run over me with that big SUV, and then give me this dirty, mean look, So in this area, it's like I don't feel safe once I leave the place. But over here, I'm glad it's quiet. But this next door neighbor right here, she must be one of those people who, like, this morning I saw a whole bunch of people. I think there are a whole bunch of perps freaking checked in. A whole bunch of them. It's like, I ain't never seen a line this long for a lot of people just checking in all of a sudden this morning. Here it's usually hard. I mean, well, maybe, I mean, it's last time, like last month, there was hardly anybody here. Like, but this lady right here sitting there talking loud, so I had using my headphones. She was having like a loud phone conversation. So, I don't know if she was one of the perps, because I didn't hear anything at all yesterday afternoon. So, you know, yeah, this morning there was a whole bunch of, like, an influx of a whole bunch of people just checking in. And it might have been perps, you know, because the people here act like they love me and love me as a guest here. And they commended me on me having the place so clean and leaving it very clean and stuff, you know. So, they said they really like me here. So, I mean, the perps already know I stay here, obviously. And so, it's like, I hope I hope and pray that, you know, the perps don't change their minds here, you know, the staff. You know, they seem like they really, really like me a lot here, you know. So, this morning, well, it was like a week or two ago, I saw they had, like, right after I left, and, was that last week or was the week before? But it was right after I left. And like maybe a day or two after I left, and I saw they had an ad out on Craigslist, but I guess they took the ad down because I don't see it anymore. But the ad on Craigslist, you know, they had an ad for employment or whatever, and the lady told me that you can't stay here and work here or be employed here, you know. So it's like, I was about to ask another question, but you can tell by the second time she said it, she sounded aggravated. So I'm like, or she sounded like she had an attitude which hadn't been normally her. So it's like, I just was like, you know, just didn't say anything else. But I thought that this job, you know, to work here would be, you know, it's quiet, laid back, and, you know, easy. So I mean, it seems like it, you know. So I thought it would be something I can do. But she said, if you staying here as a guest, then you can't work here. But I was like, well, what if I apply to work here? I mean, I was about to ask that question, but I saw she had sounded like irritated or whatever. Like, you know how people try to get an attitude and talk down to you like you're really stupid when the way they repeat themselves. And then she didn't say this, but other situations, people, I'd be like, well, why are you getting an attitude? Oh, because you acted like you were too stupid to understand what I was telling you or something like that, you know. But I just didn't, you know, I was just like, okay, you know. But I was trying to ask, like, well, would I still be, you know, after I check out, you know, or do they mean that because I stayed here, period, that must mean I can never, ever work here, you know? So I figured if they like me so much as a guest staying here, I thought they probably would like me as a worker too, but they say you can't do both. So, I mean, I've heard some people say that, you know, well, if you want a free, you know, I'm not trying to stay here for free or anything, but I was looking for a job, period. And, you know, just, you know, just looking for work, looking for a job. But, I wasn't trying to think that, ooh, if I work here, then I can stay here for free. But that's not what I was trying to think, you know. But, you know, I was just wanting to get a job, and so that I can get on my feet and get my own place, you know. So I guess that's out the question. So there was another hotel in Gulf Breeze that I filled out an application. They never responded back, but they said the same. I didn't ask. The lady told me off. There was a sign that said that if you stay there as a guest, then you can't work there. You know. But I never stayed over there because I never stayed in any hotel in Gulf Breeze ever. You know, I only been to Gulf Breeze to go to the beach all the time. You know, or I would go just that one time. That situation with that fake targeted individual. I think her name is Tanya White, and she lied to me and said her name was Judy, or something like that. Or she lied and said her name was Judy. And it was a stormy, rainy day, and she tried to trap me in her RV that she said wasn't even her. She tried to lock me in there and try to make like I can't come and go as I please. She was professed to be a Christian, but she was very controlling and abusive. Within less than 2 hours, I didn't care that it was pouring, raining cats and dogs. I made sure I left. You know, so you don't freaking try to trap somebody. I'm a grown ass woman. You don't have that right to try to treat me like I'm in prison or something like that. You know, try to restrict me from, like, you trying to force me to stay locked in an RV all day and not leave. That was mildly traumatic for me. You know, excuse me. So, and then I had to walk up like a very long way and then get a cab to and from, but that $20 or whatever was reimbursed later on by somebody who, I think they paid for my food, my dinner, and then gave me an extra $20. So, it's like, yeah, it's just, I looked on Craigslist yesterday and today. It seemed like all they have that I probably could do is driving jobs, but even though I got all that sleep yesterday and last night, I still feel like if I drove on the road today, I still feel too deprived, like too sleep deprived, you know. Still feeling that deprived feeling, and my mind is not all the way clear. It's like my mind is like never clear because of this constant and frequent sleep deprivation. And it's like, I wish I can get back into driving again. But it's like the sleep deprivation is just, you know, too strong. And it's like, I know the perps have to be sleep deprived. And the perps, it's like, the gang stalking perps can't drive. I mean, they're horrible drivers. They're shitty drivers, you know. They break every road rule, and they drive reckless. And narcissistic abusers, you feel unsafe in the car, and they try to bully, harass, and lecture me about not having any business driving, or I have no business driving, or something like that. And then they sit back and pout and get jealous when they feel like my driving is more careful or better than theirs. They wonder, if you ain't drove in 10 years, how the hell you could drive better than me? And then they all pounding and stirring, like, and they want to brag about how they've been driving for over 30 years and never got a ticket and stuff, you know. But it's like, this sleep deprivation has me feeling brain dead. Like, I'm just feeling like dead. Like, I never feel fully alert or awake. And I don't know, it's like, I guess, like, see, when Janet tried to take me to drive, she, I don't even know if she just was trying to make a fool out of me and thought it was funny, you know. And then it was like the day before the trip, and she rented that Malibu, and my right leg was involuntarily and uncontrollably shaking And then I was like super nervous. And then the night before that, I had only got 3 hours of sleep. And then once I got out the car, you know, I only drove around the block, around the complex, and was like too scared to get on the road and drive. And I was even scared driving on, like, and so then by the time I got out the car, my body was like back to normal. You know, it's like the whole time I was trying to drive, like my right leg was shaking so heavily, and I was so, like, you know, and I don't even know if the perps did that on purpose, or if she might have used an energy weapon and probably was, you know, thought the shit was funny, you know. And then 2 days later, I told her, it seemed like, you know, driving around, I see she makes like intentionally break the road rules or something like that. And all these years, and you never got a ticket, you know. But then she used to be a supposed former police officer, so, you know. But I didn't feel safe riding on the highway of somebody who's in their phone like this while driving 95 miles an hour, or almost 95 miles an hour, and you're looking down at your phone, and I'm sitting here all scared and stuff, or, you know, or they just have a moment where for at least a minimum of 2 minutes have their hands off the wheel, and I get all scared, you know, and like they do it on purpose. It's like, but I have no business driving, no business being on the road, you know. And so it's like made to feel like as if I better not fix my face or my hands to click on that link to apply for any driving job. When I tried for the cab job, see, they even gang stalked me with Z-Trip. And that black guy, Tracy, who's supposedly the manager or something of Z-Trip here in Pensacola, he acted like who was okay with everybody driving. It's like I was the only one, and I was brand new to Pensacola, been here for not even 2 weeks. And then the other company people was like, you know, kept asking me to drive, but the more they kept asking me to drive, that's the more sleep I was robbed of. The more I was sleep deprived, the more I couldn't drive because I was sleep deprived. So then being forced to take on jobs like the YMCA or minimum wage dishwashing job, part-time jobs. And so that black guy, Tracy, acted like he clearly didn't want me to drive when I was new in Pensacola. He clearly didn't want me to drive, and he didn't even see my record or anything like that. It's just like I was the single target that was pointed out to be X'd out, you know, before he can even know who I am or anything like that. So my space is like running out on my phone, so I'm going to have to go. All right, I'll see y'all.